Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to WCS America Premier League round of 32. We had a pretty nice second match with HuK from Team Evil Geniuses taking a 2-1 win over Hero, but now it's time for the winners.
More PvP coming up indeed, and I was glancing down on my screen to keep a close eye on the map veto process so far. We're going to have a new first map as Merry-Go-Round is going to be played first in this PvP. Which I'm a little bit surprised by. Now that's a map that I really haven't seen a whole lot of PvPs on. I don't really have a particular reason for it. Either when I play ladder, I don't meet a whole lot of Protoss players in general. It's like, Protoss buddies, where are you? I actually enjoy playing PvP, but I'm only getting those dirty zergs and stuff. But yeah, Merry-Go-Round is going to be our first map. Our second map is going to be played on Overgrowth, and the third map, if necessary, is going to be played on Frost. So 2 familiar maps and 1 new one.
Yeah, I'm not surprised to see that Frost is still a really popular map choice. It was probably the most popular map choice in the last season, and I guess it's been around long enough now that everybody's just super comfortable on it.
Yeah, we just for some reason, we just keep Frost. Like, it doesn't really matter what matchup we play, which mirror matchup, or, if it's TVZ or PVZ or PVT, it's just like, everyone loves Frost, and it's just like, vetoing Frost right now is kind of like the gentleman's agreement. You just don't do that, It's just like, it's this unwritten rule within WCS, apparently, that you just don't veto Frost. Either way, really big series, of course, for both of these players. Pigbaby, I think it's safe to say this would be the biggest payday of his career. If he advances, if he wins his best of 3, he secures himself basically $5,000, at least $3,000 in this season, and $2,000 for being part of Premier League for next season. For HuK, that would mean back-to-back appearances in WCS America round of 16, and that would also be like the 4th time already in I think the 6 seasons that he played in. Now that is also something to be really proud of, because that's not easy.
Yeah, I mean, we looked at the way that his results ended up last season. Could end up with a rematch for survival in this group if he loses. This is one of those situations where you'd really like to just get your second win in the series, just go straight on, don't have to wait for that loser's match to finish up, don't have to wait and play another best of 3. These situations where some of these builds that these players have brought forth, like Pigbaby in his series versus Revival, brought some pretty crazy builds. That's the kind of stuff that if you play a longer series, it's hard to make work multiple times. So I'm wondering if if Pigbaby's going to bring the same kind of interesting style to this match.
And Pigbaby played against HuK, correct, in his WCS America Challenger match?
Yeah.
I think he won that series 3-1, but it wasn't really a series that I could pull a whole lot of information from. It was all just kind of like PvPs, like, I do this, you do that, I did it better, GG,
Yeah.
I
mean, if you're playing versus HuK, that's also a whole other game, basically. It's not even StarCraft anymore.
No, he plays a special kind of RTS, which is fun to watch, but probably a nightmare to play against. Unless you're winning, then you're probably having a good time. Either way, our players are ready, and we are ready for our 3rd series of the day. It's going to be played on Merry-Go-Round. The winner will be our very first player that we are going to welcome in a couple of weeks, and maybe a month and a couple of weeks over here to Southern California, where the sun always shines. And it does things with your skin color, guys. Yes, that's true.
It is really warm here. I'm not used to this California weather yet.
And Nathan has been spending time in Sweden. That's why we look so different.
Yeah, just got back. But I'm loving it here, guys. We are loaded into our first map of the winners match here today for Group A of WCS America Premier League round of 32. This series, any final thoughts? Which player you'd like to see move forward from here?
I feel that HuK is riding momentum right now. I think he's confident. This is a tough group. He was not happy with his group. He mentioned it on Twitter as well. He's like, oh, come on, this is really the group that I'm playing in. But so far, defeating Hero 2 seasons in a row, that is so incredibly impressive. Like, I don't think I even emphasized on how impressive I find that. And of course, there will always be that wise guy on Reddit that says like, well, Hero is really bad in PvP. He's like, no, first of all, Hero is not really bad in any matchup. You could say that maybe PvP is statistically Hero's weakest matchup, but to defeat him twice in 2 seasons in a row, that's just one hell of an achievement. That's something to be very proud of.
Yeah, that's one of those things that gives you a big confidence boost. And we can see here in the top left position our red Protoss player from Team Evil Geniuses. It is HuK riding the coattails of that victory against Liquids here. And he's actually opening up once again with this 11 supply gateway.
A guy close to my heart, Nate.
Yes, again.
Everyone who's ever seen me play a PvP will know that I do nothing else. It's 11 gate all day, every day.
Yes, I've seen enough of the 11 gates. And in the top right, this is a 3-player map, of course. We've got the blue Protoss. It's Pigbaby with a seemingly much more normal gateway timing.
Yep, it was a 13 gate. Now, what I really wonder about Nate is like against Hero, HuK did not scout at all, not a single time, not even in the corner of his base for some proxy gates. Was that because he was playing against Liquid Hero and he just knows that Hero is not particularly known to be a very cheesy player, or is that just something that he does right now in general because A, he feels confident enough that he can defend any cheese, which I think in some locations or some occasions is borderline impossible, especially if those gates are in your base. Or B, because he just doesn't think it's going to happen. I don't know.
I mean, sometimes it comes down to playing the player. I mean, imagine if you're playing somebody like Haas, especially, like, always check. But I guess maybe don't know too much about Pigbaby. We haven't seen a lot of his games recently.
Against Haas, I would have a probe on patrol in the corners of my base, because you never know what's coming, man.
Full base vision at 30 seconds in.
It's like you totally cripple your own economy, and he's actually playing macro. He's like, by the time he has 16 probes, you have like 12, but you're like, have to be sure.
You're still ahead in that situation for Haas.
He's actually, I played him the other week on ladder. I was ahead in workers and he still wrecked me. Out of nothing, only 5 Phoenixes. I was like, wow, how did he do that? They're surprisingly good when you play against them. They might look very cheesy when you observe them, but if you play them, they're surprisingly good.
All right, well, HuK gets this very fast Stalker once again. The probe scout is able to see that it was under construction, but didn't actually see when it came out. And we have a second gateway coming in for Pigbaby, so it's a potentially two-gate Stalker pressure setup versus just a very fast 2 Stalkers with this Mothership core.
Yeah, which could be an additional gateway as well for Pigbaby, which I'm not necessarily expecting because he's saving up Chrono Boost. So I think it's just going to be 3 Stalkers that we have for Pigbaby. I'm once again surprised by how much HuK is splitting up his forces. I think that's really a little bit risky in this phase in the game. He's opening 1 gate Twilight, but he's selling a different story. Like, if I was playing PvP right now and I see this, like, well, this dude is bringing his Stalker to my natural at 4 minutes and 45 seconds and a probe, like, okay, I have to worry about something, you know, something is coming, but actually HuK is just doing this to sell a convincing story that he's not going for 1 gate Twilight while he actually is. But this is also something that could really backfire, because if that Stalker somehow gets caught out of position, if one Stalker from Pigbaby was running south and then turns around, then it's actually behind your Stalker, he can kill it.
Yeah, Pigbaby's actually booting up now a 3rd gateway. And he has a probe already building a pylon outside the natural expansion area of HuK. So this shoe is almost on the other foot, as it were, with this very fast, heavy gateway tech coming from our Korean Protoss player, now moving towards that main base ramp. It does almost have enough energy for a Photon Overcharge, but look at this, immediately cues to build a pylon on the high ground so he can't be locked out.
And that is not in range of Photon Overcharge either. HuK activates Photon Overcharge very early there. So what I think is going to happen now is that Pigbaby is going to warp in units on the high ground non-stop. I don't think that HuK can just sit back and wait until Blink is ready. So if I was HuK right now, as crazy as this sounds, I would probably warp in a Zealot and a Sentry and I would pull my probes, because I feel that that is the only way that he would win this game, and I don't think he's gonna do that, but I think if he just waits and he keeps warping in Stalkers, I think Pigbaby is going to overrun him. Okay, there we do see the Sentry, so maybe he is going to do that. He is doing that, he's pulling the probes. I think this is the best choice, but Pigbaby is aware of this and he's warping in Zealots. Very smart play here by both players.
Yeah, it's a fantastic call there, man, and this is about as much as he needed, but still a very favorable engagement towards our blue Protoss player as he still manages to just steamroll everything, even with the workers, and GG Pigbaby with a pretty damn fast game 1 victory here. I was going to say I'm not sure what to do. You called it perfectly. HuK still couldn't make it work, and that's a painful situation to be placed in a PvP.
No, it's really hard. Like, he warped in 1 Stalker, which I already felt like maybe that could have been the Zealot. Maybe it would, like, I think Photon Overcharge was still running for at least 15 more seconds, and I don't think that Photon Overcharge would have made a difference. So I think if you want to do that, then warp in like 2-3 Zealots, then pull the probes, then wipe in the force field. But also props to Pigbaby, because normally, you know, if you don't see this coming, if you don't think about it, you're like, hey, this is a Stalker war, and if I have more Stalkers, I can out-micro my opponent, so I just wipe in Stalkers. But Pigbaby's like, no, wait, this is going really good for me. Like, what if he pulls probes and immediately wipes in those Zealots? So just good play by both players. Unfortunately, HuK got caught off guard with his build. He tried to set, like, this all goes down to the early game of PvP. Like, it looks like a very simple matchup, and it may look boring to you guys sometimes, where you just see like, oh, wipe in a bunch of gateway units. Okay, one guy shoots more and he wins, but it's really much more complex and complicated than that. HuK wants to make sure that Pigbaby doesn't do that by showing his Stalker, showing his probe on the other side of the map, being like, hey, I am going to be the one who's going to throw something at you. But then actually by the time that Pigbaby would normally maybe realize like, hey, nothing is coming, then HuK will already have Blink, so he's safe. But Pigbaby didn't fall for it. He's like, no, I'm going to go with my 3 gates. I'm not worried about what you're doing. I'm not impressed by what you're trying to sell to me over here. And suddenly HuK is in trouble. And then, you know, you see like the whole next chain of decision making, which is really fun to watch if you enjoy PvP.
Well, the other cool thing about that map especially is when you look at the way that he set up with the pylon on the high ground, you said it wasn't in range of Photon Overcharge, and HuK knew he needed to get Pigbaby out of his base more than he did to defend because he would just overrun him. Without any energy, he didn't have anything like a time warp. He took that whole engagement with his probes away from the Photon Overcharge. The Nexus Cannon did absolutely nothing. And I think it's just a really cool way to look at, say, maybe that builds a bit better on that map than other maps because you can get up the main ramp without being in range of the Nexus Cannon.
No, that makes a world of difference. Like on Frost, like we saw earlier today, yes, there's like this tiny corner where you can put 3 units, but on Merry-Go-Round, that's not the case. There's actually like quite a bit of an angle over there in the right corner of the map where you can have your pylon, and there is still space to even micro a little bit, and there is still space to, you know, dance around that dangerous line of Photon Overcharge without it shooting at your units all the time. So both players are ready. We are ready. So we're going to fire up game number 2 that is going to be played on Overgrowth with Pigbaby. Just 1 map win away right now from advancing to the round of 16 without dropping a single map. And that is not something I would have called in the start of the day either, Nate.
No. I mean, we were looking at this group just at the very beginning before the broadcast started. Like, we haven't seen as much of Pigbaby, but he hasn't been super successful. I mean, we talked about some of the players he's lost to, Sulky, Party, you know, anybody would lose to them. I'd say almost anybody playing in WCS America would lose in a series to those guys, but we're loaded in. It's time to find out if he can actually get that second win. I think at this point, he might just be able to do it. He's his opponent that needs to stop him. He's down 1-0 in this best of 3. It is Evil Genius's HuK. He needs to overcome this player who just a very sharp build, really, in the last game. It's the teamless player, Pigbaby.
What? Is he? I think he's going to try to cannon rush. Because I have seen a lot of pylon placements in my days. Quick call Wiedemins on the hotline right now. Wiedemins, tell me what's going to happen, because I think something funky is going to happen.
I've got Galsy on speed dial.
I can't imagine building this pylon here for any other reason than trying to get your forts over here. I mean, let's not forget, HuK has not scouted a single time in 4 PvPs right now. It's just going to be a gateway. That's such a bizarre pylon placement.
That is a very interesting first pylon position.
I guess it doesn't really block your mining.
His probes kind of move around it. Yeah. I don't know. I guess this is the most, you know, if we get something this interesting to talk about this early on, I guess it's kind of cool.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Pigbaby. You just killed 30 seconds of this game for us. And you made us look really stupid, but that's okay. We had a good call, a bad call, you know. Sometimes you're right, sometimes you're wrong.
It would have been cool to see a cannon rush either way, though. Yeah. It's also important to note that beyond all of this, he still has his gateway actually significantly faster than HuK, about almost 10 seconds. Almost 15 seconds, actually.
Yeah. Was it a 10 gate? Sorry, I was so caught up by this. No, it was 11.
I was mesmerized with the pylon as well. I think it was an 11.
Yeah, it was probably 11. Didn't really see any 10. As we do see that Cybercore being wiped in as well before the second pylon, which shows us that this will indeed most likely be... this could very well be, again, 3 gateway opening over here for Pigbaby. Of course, having 3 gateways from an 11 gate is just... It's all going to hit a little bit quicker. I'm curious to see how HuK is going to open. HuK is not a very still PvP player in my opinion. I think he's quite diverse. He switches it up quite often. He's again showing us over here as well in Overgrowth. This time he opens up with a Zealot. How many times did he open up with a Zealot so far? Not very often, but I kind of like this early gate from Pigbaby for the simple reason, again, HuK just did not scout.
He's got a lot of Chrono Boost saved up on his Nexus as well. You think he's just waiting to burn it on the Stalkers and maybe Warp Gate?
Could be 3 gate for HuK as well this time. But he's mining a lot of gas, so maybe not. This is maybe a bit too much gas for... Okay, now he's spending all Chrono Boost at once.
All right, yeah, Mothership course coming out. So we're you know, one other point that you mentioned is no lack of worker scouting. So Pigbaby gets in, he sees everything that HuK is up to, and he knows, or at least he should be able to know, that his first stalker route is definitely much faster, already crossing the map actually.
Yeah, it's a couple of seconds faster. That's just the difference between an 11 gate and a 12 or 13 gate. We do have a quick Mothership core over here by HuK. We've seen HuK in previous games. He likes to split up his units early on. He's not going to split up anything before he takes control of the Zelnaga Watchtower. So maybe Pigbaby gets 1 or 2 shots off, but no, he doesn't even want to do that. We do see the 2 additional gates going down in the main base of Pigbaby. So once this is like a mirror image of the last game. However, this map is a little worse for that. But it's also, there is still room over here to avoid photon overcharge. Like, this is not Frost. This is not, what's another map where it's really tight? Even Altazim, even though despite Altazim being so big, the surface area in the main is not that big. So this could get tricky again for HuK.
Yeah,
I don't know, Nate.
I don't know, Kev. That first pylon's finishing up in the left, I guess, west of the natural expansion. For Pigbaby, these stalkers are going to come bash heads outside. There's not too much to be done here, though. As these gateways are finishing up for Pigbaby, he's got 3 warp gates. He's going to try to make the same play work, essentially from the last map, and HuK has that blink almost halfway complete this time around. The question is, can he hold on? 4 stalkers charging that ramp. He's going straight for the first stalker of HuK. He's got a hit point advantage. Photon overcharge is cast. There's the pylon on the high ground. How quickly does HuK respond, and what does he need to stop it this time?
Yeah, don't put me on. Don't do that to me, man. Like I called it last time. I don't know, if I was him, this time I feel that Blink is a little closer, but he doesn't have any photon overcharge anymore, so I guess just more stalkers, and maybe still pull probes in the moment that you want to. We'll see. So he warps in 3 stalkers. If I was HuK, I think he can get 1 more. I don't think he needs a pylon right now. I'm very surprised that he's spending money on a pylon. Perhaps he's afraid of losing 1 pylon when he's trying to buy time for the next one. I'm not sure, but Blink is getting closer and closer, so if I was him right now, maybe like 1 Zealot and then 2 Stalkers, just that Zealot to soak up a couple of shots, and then after that it's just Stalkers and Stalkers only to out-micro your opponent. That is a bad position, I think, to warp in. He's going to take some shots immediately.
Yeah, Pigbaby's just moving on in. Time warp on the mineral line. No possibility of retreat except that blink, which he's using now. Mothership Core eliminated from the equation. These Zealots are also in the probe line. He's actually trying to hit these Stalkers that are behind the mineral patch, so the positioning ends up working out reasonably well for HuK. And is he going to get this Mothership Core? He's defending so far. 2 more Stalkers being warped in. This is where HuK's control can determine whether he brings us back. But 2 Stalkers, the ones immediately getting warped in, getting picked off. Total Stalker count, it's 7 versus 8. But keep in mind, with Blink, the numbers advantage is not as big of a deal. Even if it's even, HuK still has a lot more micro potential.
Yeah, HuK has way more micro potential. I think HuK has stabilized for now. He's just buying time. He knows that time is in his favor right now. So he wants to make sure that he doesn't take the next fight. He's kind of in an awkward position though. This is really bad because not all of his Stalkers can shoot at once. He's going to lose 1 pylon. As long as he doesn't lose Stalkers, I think he will be okay. Soon I think he can start going for it. This is the moment where Blink should shine.
Yeah, just going back and forth. See all those Stalkers with very low shields, but still not dead yet. He tries to walk forward and pick off some of the ones in the back. A little feat of desperation as these numbers begin to trickle down. He does pick off a few of the weakened ones, but HuK keeping his healthy ones alive. He does manage to clean just about everything up out of his base. He can get the pylon now. All that remains on the map for Pigbaby are 2 sentries back home.
But that's actually good enough for now because HuK doesn't have high ground vision and there is a robo, so I don't think that Pigbaby is dead. If I was HuK, I would expand immediately, and that's exactly what he does. Because he's going to have map control till the dawn of days. Like, at least for a couple solid minutes. He's the player with Blink. He played against a no-Blink opening. This time it just worked out all a little better for HuK. Better positioning. He wasn't as outnumbered in Stalkers as he was before. It's just all kind of connected. Right now, all that he has to do is just contain your opponent, macro up, throw the boost out as many probes as possible. Because despite losing 4 probes in the occasion, like, it's not like he's down in workers. I don't think he should push the issue here, and that's why he
Yeah, just pokes the ramp, Blink back, of course. That's the nice thing. You don't have to worry about being force fielded in. First, we can see this pylon still here. There's still a potential threat for later aggression, which is always nice to have on your side. But I really like this soft contain where he's saying if you try to poke out with a couple units, I can take a couple shots and blink back, as HuK's Nexus is going to finish up potentially before one even gets started for Pigbaby.
Yeah, Pigbaby is warping in 3 Zealots over here on the north side of the map. That could be annoying, but it's not going to make a big difference as 1 Zealot, a Sentry, and now a 2nd Sentry and a Zealot being warped in as well. So I think HuK will be more than fine over here. Yep. 1 Zealot does squeeze through, but that's about all. If I was Pigbaby, I would run back. This is not going to do anything.
Those Zealots aren't doing much here. And Pigbaby's moving his army, actually.
Yeah, he does have an Immortal lead, and Immortals are very powerful units, but I'm afraid that, like, I don't think that Pigbaby can actually do something over here. Not against the Photon Overcharge, defensive force fields, HuK soon with 1 Immortal, and as soon as he warps in, I actually expected Zealots here, but he goes for 2 more Stalkers and now 1 Zealot. HuK is more than fine. There's nothing that Pigbaby can do to really threaten HuK right now in this phase in the game.
Yeah, and Pigbaby's just making sure if he were considering going for any type of attack, he can know what's waiting for him. That hallucinated Phoenix Scout sees pretty much everything. Sees, okay, you got some probes here naturally. We also see there's no gas there. His Nexus will be done reasonably soon. He's getting a Forge. HuK started as +1. So this situation, like the game status, is going to be relatively even with HuK having that economic advantage. And we saw what he did with that versus Hero in his series.
Yep. It's not as big, though, as in that game, but there is an economic advantage. Above all, I still like HuK's tech a little more as well. His +1 upgrade is a tiny bit ahead, but that's of course not that important. But the fact is that he has Blink, and even though Blink right now in a straight-up engagement is not going to be a game changer anymore, it might help a little bit, but it shouldn't determine the outcome of a fight. It does make it so much harder for Pigbaby to move out. It does make it so much harder for Pigbaby to take control of a zone like a Watchtower, or even to get successful hallucinated Phoenixes out there. So in that case, you still have to really love HuK's position. That was really funny. They just like kind of walked by. And
that was a very brave movement. Just walked in, killed one pro. He's like, we were looking for this man. Just blinked straight out as this hallucinated Phoenix checks the main base. And neither of these players, like, they're not. We haven't seen either of them get any later stages of tech yet, but neither of them have seen each other get that stage of tech. So it's coming down to, I feel, you know, are they more worried that maybe there's either something hidden waiting for them, or that they should try to expand again?
No, I think right now there's just not really that much you can do. If in this phase in the game of PvP, you just focus on building workers, you focus on scouting, because you know, like, if your opponent makes some sort of an attack, like right now you're like, cool, if I was behind, that means I can defend and I'm ahead. And if you're ahead, then it's just like, you know, should I really do this? No way. And if my opponent attacks me while I'm ahead, like, sure, please give me the game. So other than tacking up, there's just nothing else that they can do right now. HuK is doing the best that he can do, utilizing the mobility of his units and showing that, hey, I'm the one with map control over here. And even though he doesn't really get anything done directly, indirectly he benefits a lot from this, because he just he can play a much more confident game. Again, he is going for sort of a similar attack to what we saw on King's Young Station against Hero. He does have a much stronger army, so I'm not going to say that I don't like it, because actually he's 20 army supply ahead. And Pigbaby is waiting. He just swapped in 5 gateways, but those gateways are not ready yet. But
those 2 Immortals on the high ground. Yeah. If this attack comes and Pigbaby does not have his whole army together, I think just 2 or 3 force fields could crush him.
The Phoenix is not moving. Phoenix is going to move right now. He's going to see this entire army. He's like, oh, red alert. That is a big army. So immediately he's going to warp in Zealots. A time warp and a photon overcharge is the best he can wish for. But you look at the bank of Pigbaby. Look at the money. His supply block, not supply block, but almost supply block.
Force fields all the Immortals away. He says, okay, yep, I'll just pick off your Nexus. You can chill there, have fun. And a couple Zealots try to move through the mineral line of Pigbaby, but this Nexus should be as good as that. He's got a couple more force fields left, and that is a really frustrating loss for Pigbaby.
Yep, HuK just saying like, hey, I'm already ahead, but at this point I'm going to be more ahead. Huge force fields there as well. Look at that one Immortal, it's stripping out. Though he was in the middle of a mosh pit by force fields. That's never a nice place to be in. HuK with overwhelming numbers over here has to be a little bit careful, but so far he has done everything right, and reinforcements arriving as well. Look at all these probes, by the way. It looked like one probe.
Yeah, HuK's not giving up this series just yet, taking game number 2 of this best of 3. We're gonna have a rubber match here, it would seem, in the final series, or let's see, the winner's match, the final game of our winner's match here at WCS America, and that was not bad at all by HuK, handling that aggression much more effectively this time around. Being able to get Blink, I think, is a big part of it.
Yeah, it's so weird how that all comes together. It's just like when the moment that the attack starts coming and you see the numbers and then you look at your Twilight, like, is this a game where I can survive till Blink or can I not? And it was going to be close, but like he kept his Stalkers in a good position. I didn't really like that one warp in when his Blink was almost ready. He warped in 2 Stalkers in range of the Stalkers of Pigbaby, and I was like, man, this might actually come back to haunt you, because on a certain point, even though he had Blink and his opponent didn't have, he had so many low HP Stalkers that was like, is it even going to matter? But in the end, HuK, he stayed patient, he stayed confident, and he bought the time for himself that he needed to, and he handled that very well. And from that point on, you know, again, it's like, it looked like I'm giving compliments while there's almost nothing to compliment the player for. But despite nothing happening, I felt that HuK did such a good job with the mobility of his Stalkers, keeping his opponent in the dark. That's also why he's able to make an attack like this. Like, if Pigbaby would have felt, you know, if Pigbaby would have seen this attack coming, if he would have seen the amount of units, he wouldn't just like make no units or only Immortals and then 5 gateways. He would much more likely probably get like 2 extra gates, some units, 2 extra gates, some units, and extra gates, some units. You know, right now you just can't go only Immortals and then like soon I'm going to have charge. icons and 5 extra gateways, and that is like exactly that moment that HuK strikes, because he just didn't allow Pigbaby to scout for the longest time, and I think he did very well after he was ahead.
It was also really cool just the way that we kind of mentioned he put out that hallucinated Phoenix at the very end. But if you feel that your army can match your opponents in a situation like that, you don't want to put yourself where you're 2 force fields away from losing your Nexus. Even if they have an even army, if he's in that position, it's very difficult to hold on to an expansion against an attack like that, because the Nexus itself almost kind of acts like a force field in that situation.
Yeah, it's really hard, and so many Protoss players have found themselves in that position. It's like, okay, I can't keep my army too far forward, because then he's just going to force field my units, and he's going to win. So I'm going to try to put myself in a good position, and then your opponent's always like, cool, force field, well, bye-bye Nexus. Yeah. It's like, well, no, I was supposed to keep the Nexus alive. It's like, come on, I can't do any right in this situation. Which all, once again, comes to HuK's excellent map control after he was ahead. Either way, game number 3 is going to be played on the map that everybody loves. It's going to be played on Frost. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this series. Of course, keep the tweets coming. Let us know at #WCS. Is it going to be HuK who's going to make at least back-to-back appearances to the round of 16? But I also think he was part of the round of 16 in Season 3. Yeah, he was for sure, because we were all hoping that he was going to make it to Canada. And I think even in Season 2, maybe it wasn't Season 2, but at least 2 seasons in a row, and if he makes it now again, it would be 3 consecutive seasons for HuK, making it into WCS America Premier League round of 16. Which is really impressive.
It'd be a pretty big pickup for him, and it'd be a big pickup for this guy to be able to get in, get his first round of 16 for WCS America appearance ever. And, you know, as I said, one of those biggest paydays, Pigbaby, our teamless Korean Protoss player, who's shown us a pretty good series so far. Almost had us tricked into believing we'd see a crazy build on that last map. But so far, his opponent in the bottom left, the red Protoss, has done a very good job of staying toe-to-toe with his Korean enemies in today's group. It's Evil Genius's HuK.
And we got so much more great StarCraft ahead of us as well. We got Liquid Hero, the champion of WCS America 2013 Season 1, of course the champion of IM Cologne, and so many other things as well in action later today, as he's going to play against Revival. And the winner of that series is going to play against the loser of this series. If you're a Hero, would you rather play Pigbaby than HuK?
I mean, HuK just seems to have the magic touch against Hero, right? The only 2 series that we've really seen them play recently, he's been able to pick up. And, you know, you also mentioned momentum for HuK. This is one of those situations where, you know, when you're playing, if you're laddering, if you're feeling really good, you're on a hot streak, you know, the wins just come easier and easier for you. And that can be one of those really nice feelings that helps you, especially in a group like this where you can play several best-of-3s in a row.
It's bizarre how that works when suddenly StarCraft can feel like the absolute best thing on earth, and it's just like, oh, I'm playing like a god today, it's so much fun. It is like every game you queue up, and it doesn't matter what matchup it is or what map it is, because you know you're going to do alright. And I definitely think that HuK is in a little bit of a winning vibe. That last game again should have gave him some confidence. That first game, you know, he got caught off guard, he wasn't ready, he tried to make the best of the situation, but it wasn't enough. Pigbaby did it well. This game, however, I think is going to be a very straight-up game. Again, by the way, HuK has not scouted, not even for proxies. This is bizarre. I think this is one of the only times you ever see a player just not even scout the edge of his base for 6 PvPs in a row and not getting punished for it.
Yeah, that's someone wondering when next time he goes to the ladder, why am I getting proxy gated all of a sudden?
Yeah, if I was HuK right now, I would start scouting on ladder, because I know that every NA Protoss that's watching, he's taking notes.
Yeah, his mothership core is gonna give a little look-see around that natural area. Should be able to catch this probe. This is actually a really nice position for it to get the scouting probe of his opponent. Even if he doesn't kill it, he still denies information, especially for the build order that HuK is going for. And with this sentry opening, it's gonna be a very fast Nexus.
Wow, so 1-gate Nexus for HuK. In general, pretty solid build. Can be hard to defend certain types of 3-gate aggression though. I think the true weakness of this build, while we see Pigbaby do the same thing on the other side of the map, so nothing to worry about for HuK, but I think the true weakness of this build is when your opponent is going 1-gate Stargate and pure into Phoenixes and follows it up with 3 more gates, because you will almost be forced to use a Photon Overcharge in your main to keep your Mothership Core alive, and the moment you use Photon Overcharge in your main, you won't have it in your natural anymore, and then with 4 or 5 Phoenixes you lift up a bunch of units and your 4 gateways followed up and kill the Nexus and pretty much win the game. But nothing to worry about for HuK. We haven't really seen straight up Phoenix openings at all today anyway, so Perhaps this is why he's busting out this build as well. It's really cool to see both players going for a 1-gate Nexus after all the crazy aggression that we've seen today already.
Yeah, and this is still a really fast Twilight Council as well for Pigbaby. His blink is already starting now, just before the 6-minute mark. The robotics facility is just now beginning for HuK, so he's getting his tech, and it does immediately get scouted as well, which is nice for Pigbaby. That hallucinated Phoenix doing a good job.
Yeah, HuK wasn't actually sure where Pigbaby spawned, but he's going to still check the right side of the map as well. And the moment that HuK is going to see that Nexus, that's going to give him at least a little bit of security. I wonder, obviously HuK is going to make Immortals as soon as he sees this Twilight console.
Yeah, I mean, you see, so this is like one of those things.
No, oh, he doesn't see it. Or did he in the end? Double check. No, HuK didn't see it because the Phoenix turned around at the final moment, so he's sending another one immediately. It doesn't change that much though. As is it going to be an Observer opening? Yeah. Okay, first Observer and then Immortal. I still think he's going to be fine. What I really wondered about is if HuK sees this blink, is he going to drop Twilight on his own and also go for a blink? Or is he going to try to say like, hey, you know what, I'm going to play a very defensive game, which knows that I can't move out, but eventually I'm going to get a much stronger unit because you invested in Blink Stalkers and I didn't.
Yeah, I mean, he's got his Forge on the way as well, so there's the potential for some upgrades to follow up behind all this. The Immortals on the way. And as this blink finishes, you know, he's still only sitting on 3 gateways, so this is one of those situations where the blink could just be good for defensive purposes against whatever your opponent throws your way, or if you wanted to try and harass, like, you know, we've talked about how Frost isn't necessarily a bad blink map, although we've certainly seen a lot less blink overall in other matchups, but he's taken the towers, he's got a little bit of map presence, and the Phoenix is still doing its due diligence in terms of scouting. Also very important to know is like he's not seeing anything like a robotics bang.
Nope, so far it's just Immortals and Sentries for HuK. Now we've seen some crazy builds as well, where sometimes people go like Immortal Sentry in PvP and just walk across the map and try to win. Pigbaby with his 4 Stalkers here is going to try to pick off 1 or 2 probes in the process before blinking back. He's going to get 2 probes exactly, and he will get out with every single Stalker. So it's not much, but it's definitely something. As we see right now, he's 4 workers ahead. He's immediately dropping 3 extra gateways. 4 extra gateways. Wow. 5 extra. So he's gonna go 8. What? 8 gate in PvP with blink and charge, and then maybe eventually a Templar Archives or something like that. Like, let's not forget, guys, he doesn't have a Robo. Now you might say like, okay, he's scouting a lot with the Phoenixes, so he doesn't really need a Robo. Okay. What? Such a bizarre build, such a bizarre way of going at it.
Yeah, the Templar Archives and the Robotics Facility at the same time. Like, I mean, you look at the Templar Archives, okay, she can go a little bit of charge on Archon, the gateways can balance out the gas mineral income, but a Robotics Facility on top of all that, I mean, can he even afford to use it for anything other than an Observer with this?
No, maybe not. Maybe that's why he's getting it. I have no idea. I'm a little bit surprised by the Robo as well, because normally you'd get the Robo a lot quicker. Like, if you want to go Immortal Archon, then your Immortals are going to be so extremely late to the party. It's getting very quick charge. Of course, on the other side of the map, we see HuK getting his Templar Archives as well. That's kind of standard, and he will soon have his own gateway explosion. But I think that just the 3 extra gates, that is going to be it for now. Because 6 gates and a Robo, that's normally enough of 2 bases. Like, something funky is going to happen. Maybe it's for a Warp Prism. Maybe 1 Observer and then a Warp Prism. So he's going to attack in the front, and then he wants to have a big warp in the main base. And I think that's the only purpose of this Robo facility. I'd be surprised if he makes it Immortal. I think a Warp Prism is much more likely.
And HuK actually starts up Psionic Storm. This isn't something that we see terribly often. Actually, the last time I think I saw this really get used was versus Immortals setups. Like, I know HuK is a player that likes to do this.
HuK had a great comeback with it. Now, we do see an Immortal on the production tab by Pigbaby, so I was wrong. I'm a little bit confused by that. It's still so bizarre to me. Those 8 gates. I mean, in the end, you could say maybe it doesn't change that much. And now Pigbaby's going up to 3 bases as well. Maybe, like, HuK's crazy pushes throughout the day have got in his mind a little bit. And he's like, hey, in case you're going to make another crazy, like, Immortal Sentry push like you've done before, I want to make sure I have enough production. So I'm going to open up with 8 gates. And if you try to overrun me, I'll overrun you because I'm able to warp in so many units. But it's a little bizarre.
Yeah, that's a really good way to describe it. Bizarre. As charge is on the way. The +2 attack will finish first for Pigbaby, but like, how do you take an engagement with this? Like, with this type of army setup, it seems very haphazard. The storms, like, of course are good, but charge lots are going to get right on top of you, so you have a risk of storming yourself. it has to be purely to take out the shields of the Immortals and the
Yeah,
Archons.
but there are not that many Immortals yet.
No.
I mean, I like Storm, don't get me wrong. I always feel that Storm is a little underrated in PvP. It is, it's not the upgrade that I think normally you should rush for, but there's definitely a time and a place for Storm, and it can be a game changer. Against this army, I'm not sure. It's all gonna depend. Will we see Storms on top of these Zealots? Yes, we do. How much is it going to change the outcome of this fight? Actually, so far, a lot of Zealots taking so much damage already.
And that cleaned out the health of most of those Zealots, but is it enough to finish breaking his opponent? Hallucinates a Colossus, but with the Observer, that's not really going to do too much for him. And the Archon backbone of this army is still super powerful. The Immortals up front for HuK will be lost. He might be able to squeeze one of his Archons away. He's got a Zealot run by in the natural during all of this, but this army is going to be mopped up by our Korean Protoss player.
Yeah, you can see that like Storm softened off so many of those Zealots, but in the end, HuK didn't have that much firepower to really take them out. So even though a lot of Zealots were low on HP, they were still surviving. Now Pigbaby is going to try to counter on the other side of the map. A lot of probes are very exposed over here, so HuK, despite taking out so many probes in the process, I think he's going to lose a couple of probes on his own right now. We see him getting 3 more extra gates. He does have Archons and Immortals, so I think he should be able to stabilize at home, but not before losing this third base. And of course, Pigbaby still having his third up is definitely in a pretty good position right now.
Yeah, and that, you know, triple worker production. He's got the extra resources available. Hallucinated Phoenix goes in once again just to confirm once more what he's up against. And I mean, if you're HuK in this situation, you're obviously down in supply, you're going to be down in economy. His probe can see on that little high ground position what's going on over there, and his pylons are getting cleaned up. What do you do in this position?
I don't know, it's going to be pretty tough regardless. Like, there's so many Archons on the map already for Pigbaby right now. He has 6 Archons. Did HuK have a pylon during that fight? I don't think so, right? He was not able to reinforce at all, or?
No.
I think he only reinforced over here and he ran those units into the natural. It was an okay idea, but in like 6 extra Zealots, it could have helped a little bit, but then again, there were still so many Immortals alive for Pigbaby that I'm not even sure if that would have made the difference. Storm was a cool idea, but like Storm is very good against Immortal heavy armies, but this was kind of different. This was very Archon heavy, and then of course Storm is a little less effective. This is kind of cool though. He's gonna try to perhaps land some Storms on the mineral line, and if I was HuK, I would just drop those Storms and then get out of here immediately.
Very nice, cleaning up the probes from Pigbaby's third base. That's you know, it's one of those things where you're like, how does he get back in? Well, that's one way. He can kill the whole damn mineral line in a flash of an eye.
Yep, so now suddenly he's not that far behind anymore economically. Army supply, he's still down a little bit. It's 82 against 89 right now. Upgrades, I believe it's +2 on either side. HuK has, Pigbaby is Blink. HuK has Charge. Pigbaby must have both then, huh? Yeah, but HuK has Storm. This is still a terrifying army there. I don't think that HuK can fight his army.
That is an absurd amount of Archons.
Like, I think on the Rem, maybe with some Storms this time, and Time Warp as well on top of these units. We'll see, Nate.
Yeah, he's throwing the Storms in. Those Zealots engaging each other, though. The Storms can act both friendly fire as well as damaging the enemy. He has the pylon here to reinforce for this fight. Those Archons, they do not pay any mind at all to the Zealots. But these Immortals and Archons for HuK getting in a surprising amount of damage to try to force this away. The Immortals need to target fire the Stalkers, though. These Zealots are really soaking up probably a bit too many hits, and he's even bringing his probes, at least a few of them, to try to stave this off.
So close,
as
wow.
HuK does barely hold his natural.
That was really close. For the longest time, it was really hard to say, but in the end, he does not die at least. At the same time, he doesn't have his third base saturated. He lost a few probes in the process. That was like one of the closest PvP fights I've seen in a while. First, it was like Pigbaby's got this, right? But HuK doing a good job with reinforcements.
HuK
right now,
he's trying to come down and defend this third base, but there's a lot more for Pigbaby here this time, and the supply just tilting further and further in favor of our Korean Protoss. He wants to go on to the round of brings the rest of his probes in desperation to hold this push off, but it will not be enough, being doubled in supply now by his Korean adversary. The Observer sees everything coming from the high ground. GG. Pigbaby makes his round of 16 debut for the WCS American Premier League.
Yeah, the deepest run that we've seen him make in a long time. Congratulations to Pigbaby and all the Pigbaby fans out there. It was a cool series, and the final engagement, at least the first one, was really close for a long time. It was hard to call, but in the end, Pigbaby just having a few more reinforcements than HuK. I think if you give HuK, you know, another 15 seconds, then maybe he's able to again put up a good fight. But he was kind of waiting. A few of his Archons were not there yet. Pigbaby just like kind of overrunning him in that final fight because he had so many gateways. He still had more gates, I think, than HuK all along. It was a close game though, and an entertaining PvP back and forth
Yeah.
with a craze. Like in the end, you could say it was kind of standard, but the way we got there with one player rushing up the storm and the other player opening up with 8 gates before getting a robo, it's definitely a little different than we normally see. It was close, but in the end, Pigbaby was victorious.
Yeah, it was cool to see the little bit of a mix-up, though, with that fast storm play coming out of HuK. It's one of those situations where if you're able to land 1 or 2 more and you actually do kill all those zealots and not just leave them behind for your kind of weak army to deal with at the end, maybe that game ends completely differently. He still had some great storms on that mineral line from the high ground, and maybe given a little bit more time, he would have been able to recover. But still, great matches by Pigbaby overall, kind of tearing his way right out as maybe the least known player that came into this group.
Yeah, we said it in the start of the day as well. I went over it. I was like, well, I think on paper, Hero and Revive are the big favorites. HuK definitely someone who can make it out of it, as he's just been making round of 16 runs like almost like it's nothing, even though it's always a big achievement. And then Pigbaby was kind of like the dark horse. Of course, a player that was once upon a time part of GSL Code S, and you know, he didn't make it into the next round when he was in Code S, but he was in a group with Sulky and Parting. There are very, very few people walking on this earth who would make it out of a group when they're placed in with Sulky and Parting. I guess we can count those guys on one hand. Pigbaby wasn't one of them, but nevertheless, we didn't exactly know how good he would be today. But he played convincing, especially against Revival. Those were 2 really clean victories. And in the end, against HuK, it was a very close back and forth series, but he was good enough.
Yeah. Definitely worth showing. So that means our next series is going to be our loser match. Who would have guessed? Revival versus Hero. Not the losers match I was expecting.
Not at all. That is a rematch of the grand final of WCS America Season 1 in 2013. Back then, the games were played in New York. Back then, Revival went up 2-0, but Hero was able to win the tournament in the end when he won 4 back-to-back matches in the 42 score in that best of 7. So that means, you know, if history would repeat itself, then Revival would be the one advancing, because right now it is going to be a best of 3. We're going to head over to a very small commercial break, and after that we'll be back with CM Storm Revival against Liquid's Hero.